Hey, Summer Excitement Online. My name is Bailey Chisum. I am the preacher and youth minister and trash gatherer and breakfast cook and whatever other role that needs to be filled here at the 4th and Bedford Church of Christ in Dimmitt, Texas. If you don't recognize me, if you've never seen my face before, that's okay. I don't take exception to that fact. I've only been part of Summer Excitement for about 5 years now. My wife was a lifetime SEer, and I was asked to be a TL by Tyler Young back in 2015. So I haven't been around all that long. But in that short time that I've been around, I've been asked to fill several different roles from TL to TLC, and now I have this wonderful opportunity to serve on the dean team with some amazing teachers. I've seen so many changes happen in this community. I've had kids that were my students in my family back whenever I was a TL that are TLs themselves, and some even TLCAs now. I've watched Doyle Corder transition from leading worship into being the director of the dean team, being the head dean that sets the direction and the course and the tone for all of Summer Excitement. So I've seen a lot of changes happen in just a short amount of time. But most importantly, what I've seen with this Summer Excitement community is several generations of Christians of just varying age taking an interest and a responsibility for the spiritual health and development of one another. It's something that's unique to Summer Excitement that I haven't seen in this kind of community anywhere else. It's something that has grown and developed from the way that Summer Excitement relies upon God and the community around them. So I think it's no mistake that we're talking about community in these trying times. Many things have just they're changed. They're different than what they were a month or two ago, and we can look back at the times of Jesus and we can say it doesn't seem like anything is familiar. It doesn't seem like anything is like it was back in Jesus' time. The world is so different now. It's strange being a Christian in these times, but I think maybe now more than ever things are like they were in Jesus' time. Uh, the nation is panic stricken. Not even just the nation, the world is panic stricken. We're unsure of what our next move is going to be, and we're being forced into a form of worship that we're just not familiar with. We're used to coming together on Sundays and Wednesdays and sitting 6 inches from each other, not 6 feet apart. We're used to being in community, coming and sharing with one another what our lives are like. We're used to being able to give hugs and shake hands. And it makes me wonder what those first generation Christians felt whenever they converted from Judaism into Christianity, from being able to worship openly at the temple in Jerusalem, going and giving their sacrifices, being able to give hugs and kisses, to being sequestered into home churches, to being in fear for their lives simply because of the way that they worshiped, simply because of the Messiah that they followed. So, while not everything lines up, I think we have some striking similarities to that time, and now is a great opportunity to look over, to re examine our life, to see what our relationships with God and other Christians look like. The last few weeks have shown us a dramatic change in the outlook of society around us. So many have gone from being self absorbed to being hyper aware of how their actions affect others. And that seems like that's the generation that we live in right now. That's the time that we live in. We're just worried about me and myself. What can I do to put myself ahead, to get an advantage, to be above somebody else, to keep moving up that ladder? And now to see everybody slow down for a minute and look around and think, well, if I do this, how is it going to affect someone else? If I go out and decide to play basketball with four other people, am I putting somebody in my family or somebody else's family at risk? So we've seen just the shift of people being self-absorbed to just very much hyper aware of how their actions affect others. And maybe this social distancing is making you go stir crazy. It's giving you a little bit of cabin fever, but it should be uplifting for us to see humanity as a whole, humankind banding together with a common cause, working towards a common goal. It's shown us how important it is to be part of a community, and the same applies to our Christian lives. We should be banding together now rather than tearing apart. So, in all of this spare time that you've had, sitting at home, whether you're still getting up and putting on your dress shirt every once in a while to make yourself feel a little bit better, or you're just quarantined yourself to your couch with your gallon tub of chocolate ice cream and your sweatpants, we have the opportunity to ask ourselves, what is the method to my madness? We have methods for everything. If you're still a student, you have a method for the way that you get up in the morning and get ready. A method that balances the maximum amount of time that you can sleep with still making it to class on time. If you're an adult, you have a method for how you spend your time at work, how you balance out making money to pay the bills versus the time that you get to spend and the memories that you get to make with your family. As you get older, it seems like there's more letters and numbers that are added into this equation, more variables that are added, but we're always trying to find the best method for the best outcome. And if we have methods for how we brush our teeth and how we wash our hands and how we merge into traffic, or even how we prefer to mow our lawn, if we have methods for those things that are inconsequential, why does it seem like sometimes we're not as intentional about our Christian lives? Why don't we have methods in line for building the community of Christians around us? So in all of our spare time, our quarantine time with our sweatpants and our chocolate ice cream, ask yourself, what is my method for Christian life? Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5:14, he says, "We urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone." But wait, I thought we were talking about the method for my walk with Christ, the way that I do things, the way that I work it out so that Christianity does the most for me. It's part of the false narrative that's enveloped us, that tells us we are doing this on our own for ourselves, that I'm only responsible for me. But if you look at the Gospels, if you look at Paul's epistles, you'll see that's not what the Bible teaches us. Christianity is a community endeavor. We are here to help support and uplift and encourage one another. I'm here for you just like you are here for me. And sometimes we lose sight of that. The methods that we put in place are there to best serve me and not best serve the community. So I've had a few different mentors in my life, all of whom have had varying approaches to the way that they go about leading, mentoring, giving guidance and advice. And if I'm honest about things, some of those mentors that I've picked up, those people that I follow, are because they're people that have given me praise, people that have lauded my work and my efforts, that have encouraged me and uplifted me with positive praise. But it seems like if I look around, the people that I care most about what they think are those that are willing to point out the flaws that I have, the mistakes that I've made. They're not afraid to criticize me. They're the people that point out whenever I've gone down the wrong path. And instead of judging me for my mistakes, they suggest just a course of constructive criticism, this course correction that changes the way that I'm doing things, that helps better me so that I can serve the community around me better. And that's what we should be seeing around us. When we open our lives to one another, we do so with the expectation that the other person, the other side of this equation, that person will freely offer us a word of warning whenever it's needed. And that's the kind of spiritual mentor that we need to be seeking out. And at the same time, that's the same kind of spiritual mentorship that we should be offering those around us, that community around us. We've been given an unprecedented opportunity in these times to improve upon the method that we follow in our walk with God. Take advantage of this time that you've been given. Write out on a note what it would look like for you to do these 6 things. Number 1, plug in with God each day, whether that be through prayer, whether that be through reading your Bible or some other kind of spiritual exercise. Make sure that you're plugging in with God each and every day. Number 2, stay connected with each other, your immediate community, and maybe even those who don't know Christ. Number 3, ask not, what is my spiritual gift, but instead, how am I a gift to this community? And then offer your giftedness to the community. Develop a friendship with somebody. That's number 4, somebody who is different than you, whether they be somebody of a different race, somebody of a different religion, or maybe somebody from a different socioeconomic background. Whatever it is, develop a friendship with somebody that is different than you. And number 5, work on having a servant mentality. When you think of servant mentality, think downward mobility. Mobility in where you seek to distribute your life's resources, your time, your treasures, your talents, the things that you've gathered together throughout your life. Give those out to people who are in need. And then finally, number 6, discover a healthy rhythm in the way that you use your time. That's what's so unique about this moment in history, is it seems like all of the world has been put on pause, and we're able to look at the schedules and the timings and the way that we spend our time, and we can reevaluate the way that we do that and maybe optimize the time that we spend. So discover a healthy rhythm in the way that you use your time. Don't be afraid to follow Paul's example. Give a heads up to the people around you that are maybe being disruptive, or they're sitting idly by in this time. Give a word of encouragement to those that are downcast. Lend a helping hand to those who are in need. And be patient. Be patient with everyone. We all have our flaws, we all make mistakes, and we all have to start somewhere. So be patient with one another. Let us join together in this time to glorify God, to recognize this community around us, to help build us up. Let us explore new ways of sharing God with one another, of being Christ to one another. Let's don't sit idly by and waste this opportunity that we have. Let's build the community.